Your person has been feeling deeply sad and emotionally restless because of the long silence and distance that has existed between you both over the past few months. The separation has forced them to confront emotions they once avoided and truths they never wanted to face. During this period of no contact, they have had plenty of time to reflect on their actions, and that reflection has brought with it a heavy wave of guilt, regret, and longing. They now recognize that they acted out of fear and cowardice, often choosing to withdraw rather than communicate. Their behavior, they realize, came across as selfish and detached, making the relationship appear one-sided, as if you were the only one trying to keep it alive. Only after losing you did they begin to understand the depth of your love and the emotional pain they caused you. They see now how much you endured in silence, how you continued to care and show affection even when they were cold, distant, or dismissive. This awareness has struck them hard, as they finally understand how they emotionally abandoned you and left you out in the cold when all you wanted was connection and reassurance. The thought of how much you must have cried or felt unworthy because of their actions weighs heavily on their heart. They feel immense guilt for not seeing your worth when you were right there, offering them unconditional love. Your person finds your energy captivating and unlike anyone else's. They are drawn not only to your beauty or the natural way you attract attention but also to the gentle, nurturing energy that radiates from within you. There is something healing about your presence, something that made them feel seen, understood, and accepted without judgment. Even when they were distant, they could feel your warmth reaching out to them in subtle ways. That softness, your compassion, and the way you cared without expectation are what they miss the most. It is not just physical attraction that keeps you in their thoughts, it is the emotional and spiritual bond that they now realize was rare and precious. They are deeply embarrassed by how they treated you, how they took your love for granted and ignored you when you were giving them all your attention and affection. There were moments when you tried to express your feelings, hoping they would reciprocate, but instead, they dismissed or avoided them. They now replay those moments in their mind and wish they had handled things differently. They regret every time they made you feel like your love was too much when, in truth, it was exactly what they needed. Now that you are no longer around, they find themselves craving everything they once overlooked, the sound of your voice, your comforting words, your laughter, and even the small things that once seemed insignificant. They are beginning to understand the saying, "We realize the value of something only when it is gone." This truth has hit them hard. They feel as though God or the universe has taken you away to teach them a painful but necessary lesson about love, humility, and appreciation. Every day, they think about what they had with you and what they lost because of their ego and pride. At the time, they thought they were protecting themselves by keeping distance or pretending not to care, but now they see that all they did was push away the one person who truly cared for them. They realize that love requires vulnerability and courage, qualities they lacked when it mattered most. The silence between you both has become a mirror, forcing them to confront the parts of themselves that they tried to hide. They have come face to face with their own insecurities, fears, and emotional immaturity. Your person feels ashamed for making you feel jealous or unworthy when all you ever did was love them selflessly. They may have tried to provoke reactions from you, perhaps out of pride or fear of losing control, but those actions only created more pain and distance. Looking back, they understand that their need to protect their ego cost them something truly irreplaceable. They now envy the way you could love so freely, without games or conditions. They wish they had cherished that instead of testing it. The guilt they carry now is not shallow, it runs deep, and it haunts them in quiet moments. They think about reaching out, about apologizing, but something inside stops them. Maybe it's fear of rejection, or perhaps the belief that you've already moved on and no longer want to hear from them. Still, their heart aches for another chance, to explain, to make things right, or even just to tell you how sorry they are. They miss the peace your presence brought into their life. They miss feeling safe in your company, knowing that no matter how chaotic things were, you would always understand. They realize that you are not just a romantic partner but also a source of emotional stability and comfort. Without you, life feels a bit emptier, and they are now learning what it truly means to lose someone who loved them deeply. Deep down, they know that words alone may never be enough to undo the damage. They wish they could go back in time, to listen instead of argue, to reassure instead of ignore, and to love you the way you deserve to be loved. This period of separation has been a harsh but awakening experience for them. It has shown them the importance of empathy, vulnerability, and gratitude. Your person is learning, through the pain of loss, that real love is not about control or pride but about openness and mutual care. They hope that someday, if the universe allows it, they might have the opportunity to show you how much they've changed and how deeply they now value the love they once took for granted. Until then, they carry you in their thoughts, haunted by the memory of what was and the ache of what could have been. You don't know how much effort I had to put in just to be likable and to fit in. It wasn't something that came naturally to me, it was something I had to consciously build, brick by brick, day after day. Every smile, every conversation, every gesture felt like a performance that I had to perfect. I observed people closely, how they laughed, how they carried themselves, what they said to make others like them, and I tried to copy that. I thought if I could learn their ways, maybe I could blend in, maybe I could finally belong. But no matter how hard I tried, there was always this invisible wall between me and the rest of the world. I always felt like an outsider trying to be accepted into a circle that wasn't meant for me. There was also this constant pressure, a raw, gnawing pressure to fit in with the best, to prove myself, to stand shoulder to shoulder with people who seemed effortlessly confident and happy. They never seemed to struggle with their identities or with the need to be loved. Meanwhile, I was battling with the fear of being left out, of being judged, of being not enough. The more I tried to keep up, the more exhausted I became. And when I looked around, I realized that the only person I could truly rely on was myself. Nobody else could understand the weight I carried or the exhaustion that came from constantly pretending to be okay. So, I decided to give all my attention to my own self. At first, it felt empowering. I told myself that I didn't need anyone else, that I could be enough. I poured my focus into self-preservation, into doing whatever it took to keep myself from falling apart. But somewhere along the way, I found comfort in things that offered me temporary escape. I discovered that I could silence the noise in my head, even if just for a moment, by indulging in small pleasures, things that made the world feel softer, quieter, easier to bear. Those little escapes became habits, and those habits slowly turned into patterns. Before I knew it, those patterns became addictions. They were my way of coping, my way of surviving the chaos around and within me. But those addictions, instead of setting me free, began to own me. They gave me a false sense of control, a fleeting illusion of peace. I depended on them more than I depended on people. I told myself I needed them to function, that they made me who I was. But deep down, I knew they were slowly eating away at me, making me hollow from the inside. I was trapped in my own creation, in a cycle I couldn't break. And then, I saw you. You entered my world like a quiet breeze, gentle, unassuming, yet powerful enough to shift everything around you. You weren't like the others. You didn't have that artificial energy that so many people carried, the kind that screams for attention while pretending not to care. You were different. You didn't seem to have any bad habits, at least not the kind that consumed you. You didn't ask for anything unusual from me, never demanded that I be someone I wasn't. You didn't push, didn't pry, didn't try to fix me. You were just there, calm, grounded, and real. You weren't like those women who obsessed over appearances or trivial things. You didn't chase trends, you didn't pretend to be something you were not. You lived in your own rhythm, in a world that seemed untouched by the noise and chaos that consumed everyone else. And that made you beautiful, not in the ordinary sense of the word, but in a way that felt pure and effortless. You had this quiet strength, this natural grace that made everything about you feel organic. Being around you felt like breathing fresh air after being stuck in a room too long. You didn't even have to say much. Your presence alone was enough to make me question everything I had been doing with my life. You showed me, without even trying, that it was possible to exist without constantly escaping, that peace wasn't something you had to find through distractions, it could simply exist within you. For the first time in a long while, I began to look at myself differently. After living the way I had for so long, surrounded by illusions, habits, and addictions, I started to realize that maybe something was not right with me, or at least not right with the way I had been living my life. I had spent so much time trying to fit in, to be accepted, to survive, that I forgot how to simply be. You made me see that I had been running away from myself, hiding behind habits and pleasures that only dulled the pain instead of healing it. It was uncomfortable at first, facing the truth of who I had become. I had built a version of myself that was all surface, pleasing to others, maybe even convincing, but empty underneath. But when I saw how genuine and at ease you were in your own skin, I realized that I wanted that too. I wanted to feel that kind of peace, the kind that doesn't depend on anyone or anything external. You became a mirror for me, showing me both my flaws and my potential. You didn't lecture me or judge me, you simply lived authentically, and that authenticity became a quiet invitation for me to do the same. For the first time, I felt that maybe I could change, not because I hated who I was, but because I wanted to meet the version of me that had been buried under years of fear, pressure, and false comfort. Meeting you didn't magically fix everything, but it awakened something in me. It made me aware of how deeply I had disconnected from myself, and how desperately I wanted to reconnect. You reminded me that it's okay to be imperfect, that being real is better than being liked, and that sometimes the hardest person to learn to trust is your own self. Maybe that's what you were meant to be in my life, a reminder that there's still beauty in being raw, that healing doesn't come from running away but from standing still and facing yourself. You were a breath of fresh air, and in that breath, I found the courage to finally exhale everything I had been holding in for far too long. Your partner doesn't want to be just friends anymore, not this time. They have reached a point of clarity where they can no longer deny what their heart truly desires. The thought of settling for a casual connection or remaining in a state of uncertainty feels unbearable to them now. They are serious about making a genuine, lasting commitment because they've finally recognized your worth and the depth of their feelings for you. Every time they think about you, an intense wave of emotion washes over them, a mix of love, regret, longing, and hope. They've spent countless hours reflecting on what went wrong before, and for the first time, they understand how much their fears and emotional wounds shaped their behavior. Your partner refuses to take their eyes off you, both literally and metaphorically. Whether it's seeing your picture online, recalling your smile in their mind, or thinking about the way you used to look at them, they are completely captivated. They can't imagine seeing you with anyone else. The very idea makes their chest tighten, stirring jealousy and pain, but also awakening an intense determination to fight for what they once took for granted. They've realized that love isn't just about desire or passion, it's about patience, consistency, and courage. Losing you made them see how fragile yet powerful true love can be. They are in deep thought about you almost constantly. In quiet moments, when the world slows down, your face appears in their mind as vividly as ever. They wonder what you're doing, how you're feeling, and whether you still think of them too. Sometimes, they even catch themselves replaying old conversations or imagining what they would say if they had another chance. This inner dialogue has become a daily routine, something that keeps them both grounded and restless at the same time. They miss you more than they can put into words. The longing has become a quiet ache that lingers no matter how busy they try to stay. It's as if a part of them is missing, a part that only your presence can restore. Your partner is so eager to reach out, yet they hesitate, fearing rejection or misunderstanding. They've drafted messages they never sent, rehearsed calls they never made, and written heartfelt words that remain unsaid. What holds them back isn't pride anymore, it's the weight of their past mistakes. They now see how their own emotional baggage, the scars left by old wounds, betrayals, or insecurities, affected their ability to love you properly. Their past trauma built walls around their heart, making them distant, guarded, or even inconsistent when all you wanted was closeness and honesty. Now, after much reflection, they've started to break those walls down. They've begun healing and acknowledging that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the very thing that makes love real. Lately, your partner has been reminiscing about the good times you shared, the laughter, the late-night talks, the comfort of being yourself around each other. Those memories play in their mind like a cherished movie they never want to end. They remember the warmth of your touch, the safety in your voice, and the way you made even the simplest days feel meaningful. Every memory brings both joy and pain, joy for what you had and pain for what was lost. But unlike before, this time they don't want to escape those feelings. They want to learn from them. They understand now that love isn't about perfection, it's about growth, patience, and understanding. Your partner wants to come after you, not out of desperation, but out of readiness. They feel more prepared emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to meet you where you are. They know they can't rewrite the past, but they believe they can build something stronger moving forward. This time, they want to show you through actions, not just words, that they are committed to making things right. They are learning empathy, not only toward you but toward everyone in their life. They've started to see how compassion and understanding transform relationships. They no longer want to love out of fear or dependency, they want to love from a place of strength and sincerity. Interestingly, your silence has become one of the most powerful lessons they've ever faced. It speaks volumes, more than any argument or confession could. Your quiet distance forces them to confront their emotions, their regrets, and their accountability. It makes them realize how much they took your presence for granted and how deeply they crave your understanding now. That silence pushes them to speak, to express what they've held inside for so long. They can't hold back anymore. Their heart feels too full, full of remorse, love, hope, and the desire to be honest at last. They want to tell you that they see you differently now, not as someone to be claimed or possessed, but as someone to be cherished and respected. They want you to know that they've changed, that they've grown, and that they're ready to love you the way you deserve to be loved. Their mind may still hold traces of fear, but their heart is determined. They don't want to lose this chance to make things right, to prove that people can change, and that love, when nurtured with truth and tenderness, can heal even the deepest wounds. Your partner is no longer content to let fate decide the outcome. They are ready to step forward, to speak their truth, and to rebuild the bridge between you. They've learned that love isn't about running away when things get hard, it's about standing firm, listening, and growing together. They can't hold back this time because they finally understand that silence, distance, and hesitation have already cost them too much. This time, they want to show up, fully, completely, and fearlessly, for you, for love, and for the future they now dream of sharing with you.